All right, no problem.
All right, whenever you guys are ready, you may begin your Prelude petition.
Good morning. Welcome to the Universalist Church, in which love is the spirit. We're glad you are here in the sanctuary, or anywhere in the world, visiting or returning after a time away. I'm Sherri Englehart-Shea, one of the co-moderators on our Board of Trustees. If you're a visitor, we hope you'll talk with our welcome team or visit our webpage, www.westhartforduu.org, to learn more about us. Our guest book or online contact page will help you get onto our electronic mailing list. Our electronic communications are the best way for us to stay connected. We look forward to helping you become a part of the Universalist Church. We're in the season of colds, flu, and COVID, though the risk of severe illness is considered low. If you're unvaccinated or would prefer a mask, our ushers have some that we're happy to share. I have a couple of announcements. We don't have paper orders of service today because of staff illness. You can follow along without one. Use the description for our live stream YouTube page or use the one Reverend Adam sent out to our email list yesterday. We'll be back to normal next week. We do want to acknowledge that the flowers today are provided by Cynthia Koya and Jim Gregory, dedicated to Cynthia's parents, Ray and Pat. Today is the first session of our new member orientation for the fall. It'll meet right after worship in the program center behind the sanctuary. The second session will be next week after worship. Our worship leader and preacher today is Dianne M. Daniels, who we are still waiting for. There was an accident in Hartford. After worship, we'll have fellowship in Fisk Hall and through Zoom. If you need help finding your way to Fisk Hall for our fellowship hour, any member of the church will be happy to guide you. Just look for someone wearing a Universalist Church name tag. You can find the link for Zoom in your weekly news or our Breeze calendar. If you aren't getting the weekly news, please sign up for it on our website. And now I invite you to take a moment to make your mobile phone silent, turn off your email, and put away your keyboards and settle in for worship.
Good morning, everyone. You have no idea how glad I am to see all of you. I-84 is a mess right about now. There was some kind of accident that shut down 2 lanes right underneath the overpass. So everybody's going this way. Oops, can't go that way. Everybody's going this way. And there were way too many trucks, although I know the truck drivers have places to go and things to do. I'm just glad I'm here. And now we're going to move into our chalice lighting. And I came into lovely music that definitely helped ease my stressed out brain. My mother liked to tease me that I was born early because I can't stand to be late. This is one of those situations like, I left home in time. Oops, not enough. Oop, I see a flame. We have flame. For those of you watching us from at home and listening, if you have a chalice at home, please light it with us. Our chalice lighting is entitled Bold and Courageous Together and was written by the Reverend Erica A. Hewitt. I did just a little bit of paraphrasing. Y'all know that's my habit. I like to paraphrase. The word courage comes from the Latin cor, which means heart. According to poet Mark Nepo, courage means to stand by one's core, reinforcing the belief that living from the center is what empowers us to face whatever life has to offer. Rain, traffic accidents. To encourage means to impart strength and confidence. As a religious community, we encourage one another, engage in the world around us, and give each other the confidence and heart to live as fully as possible. With full hearts, we affirm our relationships with one another. We recognize our agency and our connective power. And we accept our responsibility to be bold and courageous. We light this chalice, symbol of all that we are, all that we have done together, and all that we will be as our shared ministry encourages those within and beyond our walls. So now we go over here. If this is the first time you've heard me preach, you're going to get a different kind of energy this morning. I am, generally speaking, a pretty positive person, but I am determined to make this a good service because we had that challenging start, but we're just going to keep right on going. Our opening hymn this morning is at number 6 in the gray hymnal. If you have one at home, please open it. Feel free to join in with us. It's entitled, Just as Long as I Have Breath.
If they ask
may not have heard that Amanda, the admin for the church here, is down sick with the flu. Those of you who know and believe in the power of prayer, please put her in your prayers for a complete and swift recovery. That also means that you don't have in front of you the words of the affirmation. So I'm going to ask those of you who know the affirmation to please sing it out loud. Well, not sing, or sing if you'd like to. But definitely let us hear your voices as we speak the unison affirmation, the covenant of this church. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you. Guys, that sounded great. Everyone, please be seated. And I am now going to turn over the pulpit to Dr. Patricia McKee with our Time for All Ages.
Before I begin, I just want to remind parents that after church school activities, the children should be picked up in their classrooms. So if you have a child in the nursery or in pre-K or kindergarten, those are the two classrooms down this hallway. And grades 1 through 5 are downstairs in the multi-purpose room. Your expediency in picking them up afterwards will be much appreciated. Thank you. This is an old wisdom tale from Japan. On the top of the hill lived the village curmudgeon. No one knew why the farmer was so ornery, yet he never seemed to have a kind word to say. No one knew why he was so inhospitable, yet he would not even open his door to visitors. No one knew why he lived isolated at the top of a hill that was difficult to traverse. Yet it was rumored that he had moved there after the death of his young son. What everyone did know was that he wanted to be left alone, and alone he was. It was time for the festival. Everyone in the village would be there except for the farmer at the top of the hill. The women sang, the men told tales, and the children played, screaming at the top of their lungs as they ripped and ran, trailing along streamers behind them. It was all the noise that brought the farmer at the top of the hill outside. What is all the commotion? He wondered aloud. Looking down the hill, he could see the village festivities, but it was not the bright stars of the celebration that took his breath away. For looking beyond the village out to the nearby sea, the farmer saw a huge wave rolling toward the shore with tremendous speed. Though he had never witnessed one, he knew what this was: a tsunami. Though his house was safe up on the hill, the tsunami was heading straight for the village. The farmer yelled out a warning because of the festivities. No one could hear him. He jumped up and down and waved his arms, but because everyone was having so much fun together, no one saw him. The farmer was frantic. How could he stop the tsunami from drowning the entire village? Suddenly, he knew. Though he might be ornery and inhospitable, he knew the village people were not. They had always reached out to him with kindness. So the farmer did the only thing he could think to do. With no concern for his own safety, he rushed into his fields and lit all his crops on fire. A raging inferno ensued as the dry vegetation quickly wilted and crumpled in flames. Who saw the flames first? No one knew. Perhaps a bright-eyed child or an elder with a nose finely attuned to the smoke. Whoever it was, the cry of fire spread quickly, and all the festivities stopped as the villagers' eyes turned toward the hill. Quick! Get buckets of water. We have to save the farmer and his land. And everyone did. And the villagers rushed up the hill with buckets, with blankets, and with no concern for their own safety. I don't mind being upstaged by children at all. They reached the top and doused the last of the flames. By then, all the farmer's crops were destroyed, yet no one from the village drowned in the tsunami. And they all knew why. Thank you.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the love of God surround you everywhere, everywhere. It is now the time in the service where everyone can participate. The voluntary offering, the sharing of our resources for our shared work as a religious community, is a spiritual practice for us. By offering your time, talent, and treasure to this community, you help us serve the members, friends, and wider community of this congregation. As part of that service, we share our general offering each week with organizations that do the work in the world that brings us ever closer to creating the beloved community. This month, we'll be sharing our offering with Hands On Hartford at www.handsonhartford.org. Founded in 1969 as Center City Churches, say that 7 times fast, Hands On Hartford is a social nonprofit organization that serves Hartford's most economically challenged residents in the areas of food, housing, and health. The agency has had a long-standing commitment to providing respectful, comprehensive services with help from volunteers and community partnerships through MANNA Food and Neighborhood Services, addressing food insecurity, Hands On Hartford Housing, providing safe and affordable housing and support services, and Faces of Homelessness Speakers Bureau, offering community education about homelessness by people who have experienced it. To give electronically, if you happen to have a copy of the order of service at home, use the QR code that's printed on the order of service, use the links in the description, or use the links on the website to make your donation to our offering. Or if you are here in person, thank you for being here in person. The sanctuary crew, y'all that is, will now be gratefully given and gratefully received. May these gifts, so generously given, sustain the work we do together, the life of this community, and those who need our support in the wider world, too. Thank you, everyone, for your generosity of spirit and of hand. Please rise in body or spirit as you wish as we speak our congregational reading, number 561, written by Margaret Mead. It is a short but powerful reading, probably pretty well known. You may not even need your books for this one. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Let this offering you so generously gave sustain and strengthen this beloved community, whether we are in our homes, watching online, or in the beloved sanctuary, which is so sacred to so many of us. A community of memory and hope, for we are now the dedicated, virtual, and physical keepers of the dream. Please join in singing the doxology. Praise God for love we all may share. Praise God for beauty everywhere. Praise God for hope of good to be. Praise God for truth that makes us free. Amen. Please be seated. Thank you, everyone. As we begin our time of prayer and reflection, let us open our hearts to the concerns of people in this community and those beyond. This is entitled A Recipe for Resilience, and it was written by Margaret Weiss. This recipe has been tweaked over time, so adjust as necessary. Sometimes it yields more servings than anticipated. Sometimes it needs a bit more of this ingredient or that. It comes from generations who have gone before me, and I've added my own flavor along the way. A recipe for resilience. 1 part courage, 2 parts tears of failure and doubt, 1 part deep listening, 1 part each of both silence and laughter, 1 part each of both truth and generosity, a dash of trust, a pinch of wonder, a heaping scoop of naps and snacks, 2 of my favorite things. In a separate bowl, mix family, friends, and those who challenge you to be your best self, those with whom you disagree. Add slowly to the larger pot, add a bay leaf for, well, whatever it is bay leaves do, and let simmer for as long as you need, which is often longer than you realize or anticipate. Keep the heat at an even temperature, hot enough to cook through, but not so hot it burns the bottom. Can be served at room temperature, warm, or even cold if necessary. Serve alongside your favorite soft blanket, dog, cat, or other soft item. Make often, share with others, and oh yes, hold on to the leftovers. You'll need them after a long day that challenges your soul. Let us take a time in stillness together, which will be followed by Spirit of Life.
All that we share is sacred by Andre Moy. This blessing was written in honor of two Unitarians, Martha and Waitstill Sharp, who during World War II dared to risk their own comfort in order to help save the lives of those in desperate need. As we gather together, may we remember, when you share with me what is most important to you, that is where listening begins. When I show you that I hear you, when I say your life matters, that is where compassion begins. When I open a door to greet you, that is where hospitality begins. When I venture out to bring you to shelter, that is where love begins. When I risk my comfort to ease your suffering, when I act against hatred, violence, and injustice, that is where courage begins. When we experience the full presence of each other because of our shared humanity, because of our differences, that is where holy gratitude begins. May this space be a table that is not complete until all are welcome. May this table be a space of beauty where together we create a series of miracles and where all that we share is sacred. May it be so.
ever-present, uplifting, complicated, and sometimes confusing world requires a healthy dose of courage for we perfectly imperfect humans to keep on moving forward. So let's talk about facing our fears, strengthening our sense of faith and purpose, and building up our levels of confidence so we can continue to represent and tap into the best that Unitarian Universalism has to offer. So what does it mean to have and display courage? My title for this morning is Faith Habits That Build Courage. Courage is part of our everyday being, though we might not notice it. It's that strength to keep moving forward in the face of pain or grief, feelings we've all experienced. As we approach the end of another calendar year, there may be feelings of pain or grief coming to the surface. Remembering things you'd rather forget can be a source of pain, but remember also that you made it through. You're here to discuss and work through and feel those feelings. Because of that, you are an overcomer, even when it might not feel that way. Courage is also the ability to do something that frightens or intimidates you. When we are young children, it's intimidating to let go of that table or that supporting arm and try to walk on our own 2 feet, using the strength of our legs and the balance of our bodies. Do we always make it the first time? No, but we don't stop trying. We keep going, trying again and again and again until it becomes second nature. We build on our successes and our strength, and eventually the challenge and the failures fade into the past and we forget all about them. Courage is a multi-layered subject. There are multiple types of courage. And so you may be thinking at this point, okay, Diane, that sounds a little different. When you tap into your reserves of physical courage, you feel the fear of doing something different, but you choose to act anyway. Like a child taking their first solo steps, you feel uncomfortable, you doubt your abilities, excuse me, but the anticipated reward of walking powers you forward. If you were not born into Unitarian Universalism, you may have needed to tap into your reserves of physical courage the first time you walked into a UU church for services. It required you to feel the fear, perhaps tempered by curiosity or a need to find what you were looking for to nurture your spirit, and walk through the door anyway. The anticipated reward of finding a loving, accepting, and expansive spiritual community that would challenge old statements and tear down old boundaries was worth it. Worth the uncertainty and worth the effort to take the step forward. There's also intellectual courage, letting go of what's familiar and reaching toward a new horizon. We exhibit intellectual courage when we pick up new books and read them, when we listen to speeches or lectures or attend classes on subjects that we don't know a lot about, or when we listen to someone with a different political viewpoint. Expanding your intellectual horizons is so rewarding. Learning new things, gaining deeper knowledge on a familiar subject, and realizing there is so much more in the world to learn. Continuing to learn about our world, the people in it, and discovering, new treasures is an integral part of our fourth principle. That free and responsible search for truth and meaning can't be accomplished if we're content to rest on our intellectual laurels and stop learning new things. Let's talk a little bit about social courage. This is a big one, and it can be a tough one. We perfectly imperfect human beings put a lot of value on being accepted by our family and friends, our peers, and our community. Our sixth principle sets the lofty goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And it takes courage to not only imagine that, to remark how wonderful a world it would be if that were true, but also to work for that goal. Put your hands on the plow, put your feet on the street. Without social courage, we'd have no public speakers on controversial subjects. Taking a stance that's the opposite of or contrary to current public opinion is a mark of courage. How courageous our female forebears were when they advocated for women to have the right to vote, or when they asserted that female ministers and pastors would be just as effective and powerful as their male counterparts. Our children display social courage when they stand up for a bullied classmate, or when they refuse to eat the food prepared in the cafeteria that doesn't meet their family's nutritional preferences and guidelines, or their personal ones. I would hazard a guess that everyone in this room and within the sound of my voice, you online, I'm talking to you too, has witnessed a display of moral courage. Standing up for what is right is not a new concept, but it's been essential since the very beginning of time, and no less so now. The Bible speaks of courage in verses like 1 Corinthians 16 and 13. Be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be courageous, be strong. While not specifically written for those of us of the UU faith, it's compatible with our fifth principle, which asserts the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. Our recent midterm elections provided opportunities for us to be on our guard, to stand firm in our faith and the principles therein, to be courageous and strong in our determination to cast our ballots and to help others do likewise. Some of you may or may not know I am a registrar of voters in my home city. Election time is always busy, always a little bit stressful. That day starts for us who work elections at 5:15 in the morning, and it did not end until 1 o'clock the next morning. It is work that I do proudly, honoring my parents who made it clear to us that everyone in our household, as soon as they turned 18, would register to vote and would go at every opportunity. I can't remember the last time I missed an election. I often file absentee ballots because I'm usually working, but I am participating intentionally in an educated way because I very rarely take the candidates right at their word. I'm always checking people out, verifying what it is that they say. Just like the former cowardly lion in The Wizard of Oz, you probably have more courage than you think. While you may find it difficult to ask a stranger to stop talking during a movie, you'd rise to the occasion if danger threatened you and your friends, or your family, or a child in your presence. In real life, you could wait for a crisis that will bring out the lion in you, or you can start to practice faith habits that will build up your courage. Try one or more of these steps that will help you to strengthen your faith and overcome the doubts and fears that can hold you back. So let's talk about facing your fears head on and being proactive. First, think about reframing the challenge and the situation. The words you choose to describe an event can have a significant effect on how you feel about it. Try to view challenges as opportunities and avoid exaggerating negative consequences. Remember your own inherent worth and dignity and assert your ability to overcome difficulties. You haven't reached this current point in your life without being able to tap into your courage and keep on trucking. You can talk yourself into a better frame of mind and then follow up your positive thoughts and words with action to reinforce them. For instance, if you're stuck in a long line, Think of it as a chance to catch up on reading the news. Call up a favorite memory that eases your stress and makes you smile. Sing a favorite hymn to yourself quietly, or pull up a favorite sermon or sacred text to read on your smartphone. Don't let that time just go to waste. Next, I want you to think about evaluating the cost of inaction and stress. It's natural to want to avoid things that scare you or make you uncomfortable, but avoidance is at best temporary, and it comes at a high cost. You might damage a relationship because you sidestep a sensitive conversation that could help you start to work out your differences. Maybe you're not even sure of the source of your desire to avoid the discomfort. What are you afraid of? What is stressing you out about the situation? When you have ways of dealing with and alleviating stress, you can greatly reduce your anxiety levels. Relaxation practices like meditation, listening to spoken word poetry, a favorite podcast, or journaling can help you to find peaceful moments that reinforce your belief in your own abilities, and they will help enhance your courage. So now that you've calmed down a little bit, your blood pressure's going down a little, your respiration's slowing down, the beads of sweat that are on your brow are probably on their way out, how do you then strengthen your faith and your purpose so that the next time you face the situation, it's not quite as scary or stressful? First, I want to encourage you to dream bigger. Courage expands your vision and helps you see beyond your current limits. Imagine what you would do if you could set aside any limiting beliefs, and in doing so, convince yourself that you could not fail. Find something you value more than your pride or your comfort, clarify your goal, and take the first step toward that dream. Having a strong faith base means that you know you have an active role to play in achieving the life you want to lead. We celebrate the divine and the concept of a benevolent force that's bigger than we are, and whatever you name this force, God, Spirit, Divine, Buddha, the great I am, it's all perfectly fine. Your belief in that which is greater than you, even though you can't physically touch it or see it with your human eyes, is an exercise in faith and strengthening that faith. It's more than just thinking about your goal or your dream, more than writing about it or even planning your next steps. It's believing and acting. It's accepting yourself and believing that you deserve and are worthy of every last good thing you dream of. Every single one. Clarify your goals, create a timeline, and keep track. Now, it's that last part that I have challenge with. Sometimes the keeping track is not the fun part, but it's still got to be done. To help you achieve the results you want, you must translate your vision, your dream, into a practical plan of action. Without a vision, the people perish. Without a vision, your dreams and goals will perish. You've got to identify exactly what you're going to do. See your goal in front of you. Describe it in detail and make it real. Whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Famous quote by Napoleon Hill, but I like to modify it by saying, whatever your mind can conceive and believe and you put your hands to work on, you can achieve. It's a process that works if you work it. If your parents were like mine, they reinforced the fact that what I could see and believe, I could achieve. Yes, I could, but taking action was not optional. You have the skills and the foundation to enhance your courage and empower yourself to reach any goal you desire. Think about our Unitarian and Universalist forebears. They persisted in their exercise of their faith and their principles. And when things looked tough, they didn't give up. They kept on moving forward. They found other people who believed as they did, and some whose beliefs were compatible with theirs, and joined their forces so that the faith could and did endure. They mastered their fears, persisted through challenges, and now here we all are, enjoying the fruits of their labors and their faith. We have all made the decision to exercise our courage, to feel the fear and choose to act anyway, to expand our horizons and not remain stuck in the familiar, to be ourselves in the face of adversity and to stand up for what is right. May we continue to be courageous, to persist, and may our reward be a more meaningful life with a great storehouse of courage to sustain us. May that great storehouse of courage stay with you through and beyond everything. As I close my sermon this morning, I want to share with you the words of J.E. Abernathy, Jr. We affirm that love is our greatest purpose. Accepting one another is the truest form of faithful living. The search for truth is our constant star. We pledge our hearts, minds, and hands to challenge injustice with courage, to find hope in times of fear, and to live out our Unitarian Universalist values every day as a beloved community. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all that is sacred in life. With love as our greatest purpose, may we accept each other in faith, shine a light on the truth, and may our hearts, minds, and hands do the work of challenging injustice with courage, supporting hope instead of fear, and may our Unitarian Universalist values strengthen us every single day. May it ever be so. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be. Please rise in body or spirit as we join in singing our closing hymn, number 89, in the gray hymnal, Come My Way, My Truth, My Life. Let us speak together our unison benediction as before. Those of you who know this by heart, speak it out. Let us hear you. Engage with the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. honor all beings. Please be seated, be comfortable in your seats, and remain for our postlude. Thank you for your time and attention this morning.
Since it didn't make it into the order of worship because the order of worship wasn't printed, I'll just tell you our special musical guests were the Vanderveer Trio, which is Cynthia Lang flute, Don Myers clarinet, and Fred Fenn bassoon. And we were very lucky to have them. Thank you very much for being with us.